Not too long ago, Beijing issued warnings to all of the people and the restaurants to be frugal with food consumption. They even instructed citizens to report restaurants who were wasteful with food. So it's very out of character for the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, to issue a food warning like this. So either this was a monumental government error, or was there something more serious at play here? The notice urged households to stock up on daily necessities ahead of winter in case of emergencies. But they didn't specify what kind of emergency they were referring to, only further adding to the panic. CCP officials went on to say their goal was to prepare people for lockdowns to fight further health outbreaks. A spokesperson from the Chinese Ministry of Commerce said, looking at the current situation, all regions have an adequate supply of daily necessities, and the supply should be completely guaranteed. He went on to say, we encourage families to store a certain amount of daily necessities as needed to meet the needs of daily life and emergencies, and to strengthen the construction of emergency delivery networks. But yet again, adding more fuel to the fire, he did not specifically state what these emergencies could look like this winter. Governments do not normally ask their citizens to hoard or stockpile food. This is very out of character because it causes runs on grocery stores, it causes absolute panic, and this all usually negatively affects the most vulnerable in society. And yet the CCP announcement did exactly this. It caused widespread panic and pandemonium throughout the country. In fact, the top search term for China for an entire week was household stockpile list. And if you think food price inflation is bad in your country, well, get a load of this. In China, basic staples like cucumbers, spinach and broccoli have increased over 100% in price. So really, let's look at what I believe then are the main points that could have caused this emergency announcement. Number one is food price inflation. This announcement led to an unwanted focus on China's crops and farming sector. Investigations revealed major food growing regions had been destroyed by unusually heavy rains this year, only adding more fuel to the speculative fire. Record rainfall hit the Chinese province of Henan in July, causing extensive flooding that led to a devastating loss of crops.
Large swathes of Henan province are underwater after being pummeled by torrential rain. Weather forecasters say it is the heaviest downpour in 1,000 years.
Henan grows about 25% of Chinese wheat and 10% of China's corn. Although the harvesting of wheat was mostly complete prior to the flood, more than 1.6 million hectares of crops were damaged or destroyed, with yields as low as 10%, or in other words, a 90% loss of some crops. In October, heavy rainfall in Shanxi destroyed another 190,000 hectares of crops. Number two, China is in the middle of an apparent new Delta outbreak, with new cases hitting a 3-month high. Several Chinese cities are now under strict lockdown, and Beijing has recorded its highest level of outbreak to date. Number three, there's rising tension between China and Taiwan, with the West now getting involved, with the USA making statements such as, if China were to attack Taiwan, we would respond militarily. This is obviously not good news and quite unnerving for the rest of the world. Number four is, more recently, China has been hit with wave after wave of freezing blizzards throughout their northern provinces. The blizzard, which began last week, brought record levels of snowfall. The cold wave has brought freezing temperatures to the country at the same time as it's experiencing energy rationing and rolling blackouts to the power grid. China is in effect running out of steam. Beijing hasn't ordered its citizens to stockpile food at any point throughout this current crisis. Even when the pandemic broke out in China in 2020, the CCP made no such similar announcements despite a strict nationwide lockdown. So we have to ask the question, why is the CCP making this warning right now? Do they know something that the rest of the world doesn't know? So let's bring this all together and conclude then. The reason China is asking its citizens to stockpile food could be one of, or even all of these reasons combined. Number one, a vegetable shortage and price inflation. New COVID cases hitting the country. A possible conflict with Taiwan, an approaching winter with already record snowfall and freezing temperatures, rolling blackouts and energy rationing, and of course the big one, which I covered on last week's video, the debt crisis and how if this implodes, it could bankrupt China. So what can we all learn from this then? Well, I've got two recommendations for you. Number one, stock up on food. This should be blatantly obvious to every single one of you, and yet I find myself making this warning and giving this guidance almost on a monthly basis, as so many people still only go to the grocery store every couple of days when they need food. This is absurd, because if the government has to tell you to go out and stockpile food, you're already too late. And hungry people are dangerous people. So the grocery store would be the last place that I would be going. And number two then is heating this winter. Unless you create your own energy at home via solar or heat pumps or whatever else you use, then you are reliant upon the utility companies to provide you with electricity or heating. And with energy companies going bankrupt in the droves, just look at the United Kingdom for an example of this. It is on an unprecedented level. Combined with the warnings that are coming out on an almost weekly basis now, it might be worth you thinking about an alternative source of heating for your household and your family. One that isn't reliant upon electricity. So finally, I just want to thank you so much for watching my video today. If you got any value out of it at all I ask is that you please click the like button for me. I really appreciate that. Why not subscribe to the channel? I bring you videos like this every week. And if you'd like, I love to read your comments, and I love it when you share my videos with other people in your community, especially if you know they have their head buried in the sand and you want to sort of wake them up a little bit as to some of the crises that we are facing in this day and age. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time.